Yo, good evening, viewers of the Chico Army and any new viewers tuning into the channel for the very first time. My name is Tyler of Chico Crypto, and will you kindly pause this video, grab yourself a brewski or spark up a doobie, and then press play and relax, because it's time for the most off-the-wall show in the crypto space. It's Crypto and a Cold One. Today's featured brewski is Guinness. It's their stout. I don't know how I'm gonna like this because I don't like dark beers that much, but let's try it. Pretty gross, not gonna lie. So I would like to welcome you back to part 2 of the breakdown of one of the biggest beefs in cryptocurrency, the beefs between Charles Hoskinson, Dan Larimer, and Vitalik Buterin. In the last episode, which can be viewed by clicking this tag, we learned that Charles teamed up with Dan Larimer to create Bitshares. He and Dan had major disagreements, leading to him leaving Bitshares and joining another team to co-found Ethereum with Vitalik. Then Charles started major beef in the Bitshares versus Ethereum debate publicly on Bitcoin Talk. This prompted Larimer to send out a heated response. Within a few months, Charles was unanimously voted out of the Ethereum team and went on to create his own blockchain company, IOHK. And this is where the next part of the story begins, the formation of IOHK. What we were told is IOHK got its beginning and funding by building blockchains for enterprises, private institutions, and governments, paid in Bitcoin. But what really funded IOHK was the Cardano ICO. I tried to find information about the early projects Charles and IOHK worked on, but didn't find a thing. If anyone has any information, please let me know in the comments. What I did find was this. On the IOHK website, it says was founded in 2015. Then if we go to Start US, which details company information, it looks like the company was founded on Tuesday, September 1st, 2015. The Cardano ICO officially launched on September 1st, 2015. So I don't know if that website is pulling information from the ICO or if that is when IOHK was officially registered. But it's obvious to me that funding for IOHK didn't come from anything like enterprises, private institutions, or the government, but came from the Cardano ICO. So how did Cardano come to be? In 2015, IOHK and some Japanese companies designed a massive initial coin offering for the platform. Attain Corporation of Japan joined as fundraising lead, with stipulation that they would go their separate ways upon its scheduled Q1 2017 launch. Attain and Japanese salesmen targeted Japanese businessmen with promises of massive returns. For example, this marketing material, which suggests Cardano will 60x, just like Ethereum, even showing Bitshares in their marketing material. Now, isn't that ironic? They also used suggestive marketing materials like Charles is a genius mathematician. This marketing and fundraising would continue for nearly 2 years. Cardano would raise a total of $63 million from its ICO, and the Japanese investors got vouchers for their Cardano tokens. No tokens yet. Now, Cardano was supposed to launch according to their roadmap targeted at the Japanese in Q1 of 2017. Well, Q1 passed. Attain's contract expired, which was the entity that communicated the most with the Japanese investors, and overall communication with the Japanese was cut off. The Japanese were supposed to be able to redeem their vouchers, were left with nothing. Japanese started to scream scam, like this blog post asking if it's fraudulent. So let us back up a bit. During the Japanese ICO in July of 2016, Charles Hoskinson officially announces he will be joining Ethereum Classic. This is about 6 months before the promised launch of Cardano. Why would he do that? In my opinion, because he had a vendetta against Vitalik Buterin, and Cardano wasn't even close to being ready. He saw an opportunity for revenge, so he took it. With funds secured from the Cardano crowd sale, IOHK was able to beef up their staff and turn their attention away from Cardano to Ethereum Classic. Need some proof? Barry Silber. He was pushing hard for Ethereum Classic, with Digital Currency Group investing heavily. In December of 2016, Barry put out this tweet. IOHK, Charles Hoskinson, just hired 7 developers, yes 7, to work exclusively on Ethereum Classic. This was only 1 month before the close of the Cardano ICO. It's totally obvious too that Cardano was put to the side. Now if you're the leader of a project like Cardano and you had months to fulfill the Q1 launch date, Would you then decide to go work on a completely different project 6 months before, then hire 7 developers 1 month before the start of Q1? No, you wouldn't. If anything, you would hire more developers to fulfill your obligation to Cardano and its investors. Well, let's see how moving over to Ethereum Classic would play out for Charles. Charles came into Ethereum Classic and attempted to position himself and IOHK as the entities that move the protocol forward. Like how the Ethereum Foundation is for Ethereum, IOHK would be that for Ethereum Classic. In early 2017, Charles did a series of videos with crypto YouTube channel Cryptocurrency Market for Ethereum Classic news and updates. In return, the owners of the channel got exclusive interviews with Charles, like this one in which they wrote a blog post about on February 4th, 2017. If we scroll down, they say, "We believe ETC is now led by Charles Hoskinson and his company IOHK, the same way Vitalik Buterin and the Ethereum Foundation lead the development of Ethereum." Then, by the end of February, IOHK submitted a proposal to implement a treasury within the protocol layer of the blockchain. This was met by massive opposition from Ethereum Classic core developers, as it created an inflationary model, which was against the core values of the project. Charles' proposal was targeting the protocol itself, and it pissed off a lot of the core devs who originally completed the Classic upgrade and fork. This forced Charles to write an apology letter for the proposal to try to explain his reasoning. It didn't go over well because towards the end he starts insulting the Classic core devs. Example here, taking someone else's code and making modification does not make you a core developer of a project. Ouch. Well, none of this panned out for Charles, and again he was pushed out of another project. Charles didn't go down without a fight though. He had the team develop Mantis, a client built specifically for Ethereum Classic, and was built to demonstrate that it had the technical competency and culture to be a leader of ETC. And Ethereum Classic wasn't just a copy-paste, as shown in this blog post about it from IOHK's website. Charles basically gave up on Ethereum Classic last month in December of 2018 from a video where he announces the retirement of the Classic team. Let's watch now.
So moving into 2019, we'll see what we do, but at the moment, unless a funding source comes in for Ethereum Classic, we're going to retire that team. We learned a lot. We love the community. We love the people there, and we think it was worth the effort and worth the time that was put in. But like all good things, must come to an end at some point, and we're going to move in a different direction unless there's funding to stay in this current course, in this direction.
So the Classic team is getting retired unless some sort of funding comes in. He was still trying to get his treasury proposal passed even a month ago. Well, as we know, Ethereum Classic got 51% attacked, and coming back from that will be very difficult for the project. So the attempt to overthrow Vitalik and Ethereum with a Classic move, it failed. Like mentioned before, while all this time and effort was spent trying to control Classic and build things for it, Cardano was most likely put to the side until the crypto markets really started to take off. So Q1 of 2017 was a date Cardano was supposed to be launched. This got delayed, and Cardano was accused of being a scam by their Japanese investors. Remember, Cardano marketed to their investors this was something they could retire on and would get gains like Ethereum or Bitshares. Well, in 2017, Bitcoin started taking off like a rocket, increasing from 1K to 2K to 3K to 4K. With each passing day, the investors were expecting something from Cardano. This prompted Cardano to come out with something, and something quick. They released the Daedalus wallet in October of 2017, and those vouchers that the Japanese had could finally be redeemed. But is this actually a major development in blockchain, or was this rushed out to cash in on the impending bull run? Well, the overall consensus is the Daedalus wallet isn't that great. And this is all that has been put out by Cardano after nearly 4 years. Now, I'm not going to hate on the tech because I am in no position to know what is good and what is not. I will leave that up to Dan and Vitalik, who are better suited to discuss it in the next part, when the war between who has the better blockchain comes in the form of heated debates between the three online. Tune in, it will be a doozy. Cheers, viewers, and I'll see you next time.